If you help me capture 50% of the Japanese luxury market in 90 days. Muna Okafor's breath caught as the words left the lips of South Korea's most ruthless CEO. I'll hand you a $7 million contract and a public endorsement that will make you the most sought-after brand strategist in Asia. Park Jaewon's dark eyes glittered with challenge as champagne glasses clinked around them in Tokyo's most exclusive rooftop lounge. But when you fail, and you will fail, you'll admit publicly that African consultants have no place in Asian markets. You'll resign from the industry entirely. The music seemed to fade. Every luxury brand executive, every venture capitalist in the room turned to watch. Muna's copper-toned skin flushed hot with rage. She should laugh in his face. She should walk away. This man had just insulted everything she'd worked for, everything her grandmother had sacrificed to put her through university in Lagos. But something in his smirk, that infuriating confidence, that assumption that she was beneath him, it set her soul on fire. "You're on," she said, her Nigerian accent sharp and clear. "And when I win, Mr. Park, you'll donate that $7 million to girls' education across Africa. My name. Jill." His handshake was firm, cold, calculated. As photographers' flashes went off around them, neither noticed the satisfied smile on the face of Park Jae-won's uncle watching from the shadows. Everything was going exactly according to plan. 4 hours earlier, Muna had stepped off the plane in Tokyo exhausted but electric with anticipation. The Pan-Asian Luxury Summit was supposed to be her breakthrough, the moment where Muna Okafor Consulting proved that innovation didn't only come from New York, London or Seoul. She'd spent 8 months preparing, perfecting her presentation on authentic luxury marketing in emerging economies. The cocktail reception at the Ritz-Carlton was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Tokyo's glittering skyline, and everywhere she looked, power players in custom suits discussed deals worth millions. Muna wore a stunning burgundy dress with gold ochre print accents, her natural hair styled in an elegant updo with cowrie shell accessories. She'd chosen every detail deliberately. She was proud of where she came from. "Miss Okafor." Muna turned to see a petite Japanese woman in her 50s, smiling warmly. "I'm Kimiko Tanaka, CEO of Sakura Ventures. Your proposal on luxury democratization was fascinating." They talked for 30 minutes about markets, cultural authenticity, the future of global branding. Muna felt herself relaxing into the conversation, finally feeling seen. Then Kimiko leaned closer, her voice dropping. "See that man near the bar? The tall one who looks like he owns the room." Muna's gaze followed. He was striking in an almost dangerous way. Sharp features, immaculately tailored charcoal suit, an expression of absolute boredom mixed with superiority. Everything about him screamed wealth, power, and arrogance. "That's Park Jae-won, youngest CEO in Seoul's top 5 conglomerates. Brilliant strategist, absolutely ruthless. And he thinks anyone outside Korea and Japan is playing in the minor leagues. Stay away from him, Muna. He destroys careers for sport." Muna nodded, but curiosity prickled at the edges of her mind. Before she could ask more, Kimiko was pulled into another conversation. Muna decided to explore, grabbing a glass of champagne and heading toward the terrace. She was admiring Tokyo Tower lit up against the night sky when she heard his voice behind her. Smooth, educated, and dripping with condescension. "African markets are too unstable for luxury investment. They want cheap imitations, not authentic craftsmanship. Throwing resources there is like burning money. My company will never waste time on that continent. The people there simply don't understand premium branding. It's not their fault, really. Different world, different capabilities." Muna froze, her champagne glass trembling in her hand. She turned slowly to see Park Jae-won surrounded by executives, speaking as if he were presenting indisputable facts. The executives nodded along uncomfortably. Muna's vision tunneled. "Excuse me," she said loudly, stepping into their circle. "Did you just say that people from Africa don't understand premium branding?" Jaewon turned, one eyebrow raised, his gaze sweeping over her with visible dismissal. "I stated a market reality. And you are Muna Okafor, brand strategist, Nigerian, And the woman about to educate you on why your company's Asian expansion failed so spectacularly last quarter. The circle went dead silent. Phones came out. Jaewon's jaw tightened imperceptibly. Careful, Miss Okafor. You're speaking about things you clearly don't understand. No, Mr. Park. You're the one who doesn't understand. Nigeria's luxury market grew by 34% last year. Ghana's high net worth population increased by 28%. But you wouldn't know that because you never bothered to look past your own prejudice. Your failed expansion wasn't because those markets are inferior. It's because your strategy was lazy, culturally tone-deaf, and frankly insulting. She stepped closer, her voice dropping but somehow more powerful. You treat billion-person markets like charity cases instead of gold mines because admitting you were wrong would shatter that fragile superiority complex you're carrying around. The terrace was completely silent now. Video cameras were recording. Jaewon's face flushed, but something flickered in his eyes. And something else, respect he didn't want to feel. You have confidence, he said coldly. But confidence without results is just noise. Could you actually deliver, Miss Okafor, or are you all talk? Try me, Muna shot back. That's when he made the bet. Now, standing in that spotlight with hundreds of eyes on them, Muna realized the enormity of what she'd agreed to. 50% market penetration in Japan's notoriously exclusive luxury sector in 90 days. It was insane. But she'd shaken his hand, and there was no backing down now. Jaewon pulled out his phone, typing quickly. My lawyers will have contracts ready by morning. I genuinely look forward to watching you fail, Miss Okafor. It will be educational. I look forward to accepting your donation check, Mr. Park, Muna replied, holding his gaze. As the crowd erupted in excited whispers, Muna walked away, head high, heart pounding. She didn't see Jaewon watching her go, didn't see him make a call to his assistant. Find everything on Muna Okafor. Education, previous campaigns, personal life, weaknesses. I want a complete profile by sunrise. He stared at the space where she'd disappeared, that confident stride, that fire in her eyes, that refusal to be diminished. For the first time in 5 years, Park Jaewon felt something dangerous. Interest. And that made her a threat he needed to eliminate. Muna, you need to see this right now. Muna looked up from her laptop to see her assistant and best friend, Adana, bursting into their Tokyo hotel suite at midnight. 3 weeks into the campaign, and the panic in Adana's voice made her blood run cold. What happened? Adana thrust her phone forward, hands shaking. On the screen was an internal email chain from Park Industries. Block all potential partnerships with Okafor Consulting's Japanese contacts. Ensure distribution delays at every turn. Send Lee Hyunwoo to embedded with her team. His mission is to gain her complete trust and report every strategy detail back to me personally. The email signature read Park Jaewon, CEO. Muna's hands trembled as she read it again, then again, hoping the words would change. They didn't. 2 weeks earlier, Muna had returned to her temporary Tokyo office with absolute determination and a strategy that would revolutionize luxury marketing in Japan. While Jaewon used traditional corporate methods, expensive magazine spreads, celebrity brand ambassadors, exclusive boutique partnerships, Muna went cultural. She partnered with emerging Japanese artists who understood both tradition and innovation. She created campaigns that honor Japanese aesthetic principles while positioning luxury as accessible aspiration, not distant fantasy. She worked with local influencers who actually connected with their audiences. Within 12 days, engagement had skyrocketed by 27%. The mandatory video calls with Jaewon were torture. Every Monday at 8 a.m. Seoul time, 8 a.m. Tokyo time, she reported progress while he sat in his minimalist glass office looking for any crack in her armor. 27% is admirable, he'd said during their third call, though his tone remained ice cold. For someone working with limited resources and industry connections. Limited resources that are outperforming your entire team's previous quarter, Muna shot back. That must be humbling. Something flickered across his face. Annoyance. Surprise. Something else she couldn't name. Don't celebrate yet, Miss Okafor. You're not even a third of the way there. But Muna noticed things. The way his gaze lingered on her face during calls. How he asked questions that went beyond pure business. Where did she work from? Was Tokyo treating her well? Had she tried the ramen place near Shibuya Station he'd mentioned? Small things. Human things. She dismissed them. He was probably looking for weaknesses to exploit, studying his enemy. Then Lee Hyun-woo arrived. Miss Okafor, I'm Hyun-woo from Park Industries Innovation Division. Mr. Park sent me to provide on-the-ground support for your campaign. Hyun-woo was charming. Warm smile, helpful demeanor, always showing up with her favorite matcha latte. He claimed Jaewon wanted someone locally positioned to facilitate resources, but every instinct Muna had screamed danger. I don't need a babysitter, she told him on day one. Not a babysitter, Hyun-woo replied smoothly. Bridge. Mr. Park can be difficult to work with. I'm here to make sure you get what you need to succeed. Against her better judgment, and because she genuinely did need help navigating Korean corporate culture, Muna let him stay. He was useful, translating nuanced business documents, connecting her with Seoul-based suppliers, even suggesting brilliant marketing angles that honored both Korean and Japanese sensibilities. Maybe Jaewon was actually playing fair after all. By week 3, the campaign hit 41% market penetration. Muna was so close she could taste victory. Could imagine the look on Jaewon's face when she won. Then everything came crashing down. How long have you known? Muna asked Adana, staring at the damning emails displayed on the phone screen. I hacked into Hyunwoo's laptop an hour ago. Adana admitted. Muna, it's worse than sabotage. Look at this. Another document appeared. A detailed intelligence report Hyunwoo had sent to Jaewon 3 days ago. Every single strategy Muna had developed, every partnership she'd carefully built, every innovative approach, stolen and documented in clinical detail. There were even photographs of her whiteboard, her private notes, her late-night brainstorming sessions with her team. He's been spying on me this entire time, Muna whispered, betrayal twisting like a knife in her chest. And there's more. Adana's voice cracked. Your suppliers, those unexpected delays you've been dealing with. Jaewon paid them to slow down your orders. That influencer who suddenly backed out last week, threatened by Park Industries' legal team. Muna, he's been sabotaging you from the very beginning while pretending to play fair. Muna's hands shook with rage so pure it felt like electricity coursing through her veins. All those sleepless nights. All that work. All that belief that maybe, just maybe, she could win on merit. And he'd been undermining her the whole time, smiling during their video calls while destroying her behind the scenes. I'm going to destroy him, she said quietly, dangerously. Wait, Adana pulled up another file. Before you do anything, you need to see this. It's a recording from Hyunwoo's last video call with Jaewon. I copied it from his encrypted backup. Muna pressed play, her heart hammering. She's incredible, sir. Hyunwoo's voice came through the laptop speakers. The strategies she's developing, they're genuinely revolutionary. Honestly, we should be learning from her, not sabotaging her work. I didn't ask for your opinion. Jaewon's cold voice cut him off. Your job is to report, not admire. Has she mentioned anything about her personal life? Any weaknesses we can leverage? Sir, respectfully, why are we doing this? She's actually going to win. The growth numbers are completely legitimate. Isn't that what you wanted? Long pause. Then Jaewon's voice, quieter, almost conflicted. What I want is irrelevant. Just do your job, Hyunwoo. The call ended. Muna sat back, mind racing. There was something in Jaewon's voice during that pause. Hesitation. Regret. Conflict. No, she was being foolish. He was a snake and she had proof. The next morning, Muna flew to Seoul unannounced. She stormed into Park Industries headquarters at 5 p.m., bypassing security with her official campaign credentials, and marched straight to Jaewon's top-floor corner office. He was standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River, suit jacket discarded, tie loosened, looking unexpectedly exhausted. When he turned and saw her, Something like relief flashed across his face before his mask slammed back into place. Miss Okafor, you're supposed to be in Tokyo. Cut the performance. Muna slammed her tablet onto his minimalist desk, the emails blazing on the screen. I know everything. The sabotage, the spy, the bribes, the threats. You're a coward and a cheat. Jaewon's jaw clenched. He didn't deny it. It's business. Business. Muna's voice rose. This is sabotage. You made a bet you never intended to honor. You wanted to humiliate me from the start. You're right, he said quietly, and Muna froze mid-breath. What? You're right. Sabotaged you. I never believed you could win, and I didn't want to be proven wrong by someone who... He hesitated, someone who challenged everything I thought I knew about markets, about strategy, about myself. He stepped closer, and Muna saw something raw and unguarded in his eyes. But watching you work these past weeks, seeing your brilliance, your determination, the way you honor your culture while understanding others, stop. Muna's voice shook with emotion. Don't you dare make this about attraction or respect now. You tried to ruin me. You tried to ruin my career, my reputation, everything I've built. I know, Jaewon whispered. They were inches apart now, the tension between them crackling like lightning. And I'm sorry. Before Muna could respond, her phone buzzed violently. A text from an unknown number. Withdraw from the bet immediately, and your family's business in Lagos stays safe. You have 24 hours to comply. This is your only warning. We're watching. Her blood turned to ice. What's wrong? Jaewon asked, seeing all color drain from her face. Muna looked up at him, torn between rage and fear and confusion. Someone else is playing this game, she said. And they're far more dangerous than you. If you're enjoying this story of ambition, betrayal, and unexpected romance, hit that subscribe button now. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Drop a comment and tell me, would you take this bet? Your father did what? Muna stared at Park Jaewon in complete disbelief as they sat in his private office at 3 a.m., Seoul's skyline glittering like diamonds behind them. He just revealed a truth that shattered everything she thought she understood. My uncle wants me to fail, Jaewon repeated, his voice hollow. He's the one threatening your family. 6 hours earlier, after receiving the anonymous threat, Muna had refused to speak to Jaewon. She'd immediately booked a flight back to Lagos, hiring private security for her family's business and desperately investigating the threat's origin. The attacks started small and escalated quickly. A shipment of fabric her mother's company relied on mysteriously caught fire at the port. Her father's supplier contracts were suddenly under legal review. Business bank loans that had been approved were now facing unexpected regulatory delays. Someone with serious power was making calculated moves. With only 10 days left in the bet and 41% market penetration achieved, Muna was heartbreakingly close to victory. But the price was becoming too high, too personal, too dangerous. Pull out of the bet, her father had urged during an emergency family video call. No amount of money or pride is worth your safety, our safety. Dad, if I quit now, I have to publicly resign from the industry, Muna argued, tears streaming down her face. We'll lose clients, lose income, lose everything I've built. And whoever is doing this still wins. Then let them win, her mother said firmly. You're alive. That's what matters. Then Jaewon called. Not their scheduled Monday meeting, but an emergency call at 1 a.m. Lagos time. Muna, don't say anything, just listen to me. His voice was urgent, almost desperate. Get on the next flight to Seoul. Come to my office, not a hotel. I'll arrange everything. I know who's threatening your family. Please, please trust me. Trust you. You've done nothing but... Your family is in danger because of my uncle. I can explain everything but not over the phone. Muna, please. Something in his voice, genuine fear, crushing guilt, raw honesty, made her believe him. Now in his office, Jaewon looked shattered. His perfect composure completely destroyed. He poured them both whiskey with hands that actually trembled. My uncle, Park Sang-woo, built his fortune through absolutely ruthless tactics. He's been positioning my younger cousin, Min-sik, to take over the company because he thinks I'm too weak, too modern, too willing to question unethical methods. He hates that I push for transparency. What does this have to do with the bet? Muna demanded, exhausted and terrified. The bet wasn't my idea. It was his. Jaewon's laugh was bitter. He was at that Tokyo reception, heard you challenge me and saw an opportunity. He knew I'd make it impossible for you, that you'd fail spectacularly. And it would prove his point that I'm arrogant, make poor strategic decisions, alienate valuable partners. I'm not following, Muna said. So the sabotage was him. I thought I was being clever, Jaewon admitted. Blocking your suppliers, sending Hyunwoo to spy. But every move I made, he amplified it 10 times. The threats to your family in Lagos, that's all him. He wants you to withdraw, so I look like a failure who couldn't even properly execute a simple bet. That's insane. That's my uncle, Jaewon said. If you withdraw, he'll use it to force me out as CEO. Claim I'm not fit to lead. If somehow you win, he'll claim the bet was fraudulent, sue both of us, destroy both our reputations. Either way, he wins and Minseek takes over the company. Muna felt the crushing weight of it all pressing down on her chest. Why are you telling me this? Why now? Jaewon looked directly at her. And for the first time she saw the real him. Vulnerable, exhausted, afraid, human. Because you deserve to know the truth. And because he hesitated these past weeks, watching you fight against everything I threw at you, your brilliance, your integrity, your refusal to compromise who you are, you made me question everything about who I've become. You deserve better than being a pawn in my family's power games. Silence stretched between them, heavy and electric. Muna should hate him. Part of her desperately wanted to. But the man in front of her wasn't the arrogant CEO from Tokyo. He was trapped, just like her, in a game neither of them fully understood. What do we do? She asked finally. We fight back, Jaewon said. Together. Over the next 60 hours Muna and Jaewon worked side by side, barely sleeping, surviving on coffee and sheer determination. He flew to Lagos with her, shocking her entire family by showing up at their textile factory at midnight. Mr. Park, Muna's mother gasped. What are you doing here? I'm here to fix what my family destroyed, Jaewon said, bowing deeply, a significant gesture of respect in Korean culture. And to help your daughter win. They coordinated everything with military precision. Jaewon used his insider knowledge of his uncle's tactics to block the sabotage attempts. Muna's strategic genius combined with his resources and connections created unstoppable momentum. Late nights became their routine. They'd work until 4 a.m., surviving on takeout and determination, learning each other's work styles, each other's fears and dreams. Jaewon opened up about the crushing pressure of his family's expectations, how he'd become cold and calculating to survive in their world. I became the weapon they wanted, thinking it would earn respect. He admitted one exhausted night. Instead, I lost myself completely. I don't even recognize who I was before. You're not that weapon, Muna said softly. Weapons don't fly across the world to protect someone they wronged. Weapons don't feel regret. Their eyes met, something powerful and terrifying passing between them. Muna shared her own struggles. Being dismissed in boardrooms because of her accent, her appearance, her origin. Fighting twice as hard for half the recognition. The loneliness of constantly breaking barriers. You terrify me, Jaewon confessed quietly. Not because you're intimidating but because you make me want to be better, and I genuinely don't know if I'm capable of that kind of change. Try, Muna whispered. That's all any of us can do. Just try. With 36 hours remaining, they launched their final campaign push. A revolutionary approach combining cultural authenticity with premium positioning, grassroots engagement with luxury aspiration. The market penetration hit 53%. Then Park Sang-woo made his final, devastating move. Muna was in her temporary Tokyo office when an email arrived from Park Sang-woo himself. Attached was a document from 9 years ago. A university project where Muna had allegedly plagiarized another student's research. Withdraw from the bet by midnight tonight, or I release this to every major business publication in Africa, Asia, and Europe. Your reputation, your career, your family's business. Everything you've built will be destroyed by morning. The choice is yours, Miss Okafor. Make it wisely. Muna's hands trembled violently. That project, there had been a misunderstanding with a jealous classmate, but it had been resolved privately through the university's ethics board. She'd been completely cleared. Or so she thought. How did he get this? She whispered. Jaewon burst through her office door, having received a copy of the same threat. His face was pale. Don't listen to him. We'll fight this. With what? Muna's voice broke. Even if it's not entirely true, even if I was cleared, the accusation alone will destroy me. Everything I've worked for, everything my family sacrificed. Then control the narrative, Jaewon said urgently. Expose the truth yourself before he can weaponize it. Show them exactly who you are. If I do that, I lose everything anyway. People don't remember the truth, they remember the scandal. Not everything, Jaewon took her hands gently. You'll have your integrity. You'll have the truth. And you'll have me. I won't let you face this alone. Muna, I swear I won't let you fall. Muna looked at him. This man who'd started as her enemy, who'd sabotaged her, who'd somehow become what? An ally. Partner. Something more she was afraid to name. The clock was ticking. 18 hours until the final presentation. 18 hours until Park Sang-woo released the documents and destroyed her. I have to choose myself, Muna whispered. Even if it costs me absolutely everything. Even if I lose. Ladies and gentlemen, before I present the campaign results, there's something I need to address publicly. Muna stood at the podium in the Grand Hyatt Tokyo's main conference hall, facing 300 investors, board members, journalists, and industry leaders. Her hands trembled, but her voice was steady, clear, unashamed. In the front row, Jaewon watched her with a mixture of pride, fear, and something deeper. Park Sang-woo sat 4 seats away, a predatory smile on his face. He thought she was about to withdraw, to crumble. He had no idea what was coming. 9 years ago I made a mistake. 8 hours earlier, Muna hadn't slept at all. She'd spent the entire night preparing 2 presentations. One showing the campaign results in detail, another addressing her past head-on. Jaewon had stayed with her in her hotel suite, refusing to leave her side. You don't have to do this, he'd said at 5 a.m. We can find another way. There is no other way, Muna had replied. If I'm going to win, I win clean. No secrets, no shame, no hiding. Your uncle thinks my past will destroy me. But the only power shame has is the power we give it by running from it. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Jaewon whispered. You know that. Tell me again after the presentation, Muna tried to smile, when we're both probably unemployed and blacklisted from the industry. At 7 a.m., they'd flown back to Tokyo together. The presentation was scheduled for 2 p.m. Muna had 7 hours to prepare for either professional suicide or resurrection. Now on stage, every eye in the room fixed on her, Muna continued. 9 years ago, there was a university research project where credit was disputed. A fellow student claimed I'd plagiarized their work. The accusation followed me for months, damaged my early career, made people question my integrity. The room was absolutely silent. Cameras flashed. Park Sang-woo leaned back, satisfied, already composing the press release in his mind. What you don't know is the full context, Muna said. The student who accused me was the dean's nephew, someone who'd been admitted through family connections while I'd worked 3 jobs to afford tuition. When our collaborative project succeeded, he attempted to take sole credit. Fought back. Yes, there was a dispute. Yes, there was an investigation. Muna pulled up a document on the screen. The University Ethics Board's official resolution, signed by all parties, completely clearing her of any wrongdoing. The truth is, I was fully exonerated after a thorough investigation, Muna said. But the accusation stuck because I was a young African woman in a competitive program, and people wanted to believe I didn't belong there. Some people still don't want to believe I belong anywhere. She looked directly at Park Sang-woo. Some people are so threatened by excellence they don't recognize. They'll do anything to destroy it. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Park Sang-woo's smile faltered. I'm sharing this not because I'm ashamed, but because I refuse to be blackmailed into silence, Muna continued. Yes, I fought for recognition I earned. Yes, I stood up against injustice. And I'd do it again tomorrow. Now let's discuss why you're actually here. The screen changed, displaying graphs, metrics, video testimonials from Japanese consumers, partnership data. Muna walked the audience through 3 months of revolutionary marketing. The cultural sensitivity, the authentic partnerships, the innovative approaches that honored both tradition and modernity. Park Industries' luxury market penetration in Japan has grown by 54.7%, Muna announced. That's not just meeting the target. That's shattering it. The room erupted. Applause, gasps, frantic note-taking, people standing for a better view of the data. Muna had done the impossible, and the evidence was irrefutable. But Park Sang-woo stood abruptly, his face flushed with rage. This presentation is fraudulent. The bet was made under false pretenses, coerced through public pressure. I categorically refuse to honor it, and furthermore sit down, uncle. Every single head in the room turned. Jaewon stood, his voice cutting through the chaos like a blade through silk. Miss Okafor won fairly, honestly, and brilliantly. And it's time everyone in this room learned the truth about why you really opposed this bet from the beginning. Jaewon stepped onto the stage beside Muna, pulling up his own presentation. Documents appeared on the screen. Financial records, email chains, recorded phone calls, evidence of systematic corporate sabotage. For the past 3 months, my uncle has systematically sabotaged Miss Okafor's campaign, Jaewon said. He bribed suppliers, threatened potential partners, hired private investigators to dig up anything he could weaponize against her. All to make me fail as CEO, to prove I'm not worthy of leading this company. The room exploded in shocked whispers, gasps, people standing to see better. Park Sang-woo's face turned purple with rage. That's defamation. I'll sue you for everything you have. With what evidence? Jaewon's voice was calm, devastating. Because I have extensive documentation of everything. Your embezzlement, your illegal market manipulation, your plans to install Minsik as CEO through fraudulent means, your threats against Miss Okafor's family in Lagos. Should I continue? Muna watched in shock as Jaewon systematically dismantled his uncle's empire. This wasn't just about the bet anymore. This was a man finally refusing to be controlled by fear and toxic family loyalty. Don't want a company built on cruelty, corruption, and prejudice, Jaewon said. I'll earn the CEO position legitimately through merit and ethics. Or I'll walk away entirely. But I will never let you destroy good people to maintain your power. Not anymore. Security personnel moved toward Park Sang-woo as board members frantically made phone calls. The man who'd seemed invincible an hour ago now looked small, trapped, defeated. But Muna barely noticed. She was staring at the final slide of Jaewon's presentation. A personal public apology to her. And a pledge of $12 million to girls' education initiatives across Africa. Hours later, after the emergency board meeting that voted to remove Park Sang-woo from all company positions, after the press conference, after the lawyers and the chaos in the industry, Muna found herself alone with Jaewon on the rooftop garden of his building. Seoul sparkled below them, a sea of lights and possibilities. Muna was exhausted, triumphant, and somehow still standing. You destroyed your uncle's career, she said quietly. I freed myself, Jaewon corrected. And I tried to make things right. The $12 million isn't enough, I know that. It will never be enough. I know, Muna said. He turned to face her fully. Muna, I started this as your enemy. I sabotaged you, underestimated you, tried to break you. But you changed me. You showed me what real integrity looks like, what courage looks like, what it means to refuse to compromise your values no matter the cost. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking for a chance. A chance at what? Muna asked. At proving I can become the man you made me want to be. At being worthy of your respect, maybe eventually your trust. Muna pulled an envelope from her bag, handing it to him. This is a list. 15 challenges. volunteer work, cultural immersion in African communities, learning humility, understanding the markets you dismissed, educating yourself on the realities you ignored. Complete every single one and maybe we'll see. Jaewon opened the envelope, reading through the extensive, demanding list. It would take months, maybe a year. Some tasks looked uncomfortable, humbling, even painful. When do I start? He asked. Tomorrow morning, Muna said, moving toward the elevator. Oh, and Jaewon. I'm opening the African headquarters of my consulting firm right here in Seoul. I hope you're ready for real competition. With you. Jaewon smiled. Always. As the elevator doors closed, Muna allowed herself a small, genuine smile. She'd won the impossible bet, exposed corporate corruption, maintained her integrity, and somehow gained an ally from an enemy. But the real victory. She'd done it all without compromising who she was, without shrinking, without apologizing for her excellence. 6 months later, Jaewon would complete every challenge on that list. He'd volunteer in Lagos, learn about markets he'd dismissed, unlearn prejudices he didn't even know he carried. And when Muna returned to Seoul for her firm's grand opening, he'd be waiting, humbler, wiser, worthy. But neither of them noticed the figure watching from the shadows of the parking garage below. Minseek smiled coldly, pulling out his phone and dialing. She's more dangerous than Uncle realized. She's made Jaewon weak. Initiate phase 2. We'll destroy them both. If this story of courage, redemption, and standing up for yourself resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me what you thought, and subscribe so you never miss our next story. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they're enough exactly as they are. Trust me, there's more coming. The game is just beginning.